Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
Welcome everyone joining us live here at the illustrious CritterCon 6. Welcome to all of our Crittermanders listening to this live and in podcast form. This is going to be coming out on the main feed. Welcome Starfinders as well that are out there playing Starfinders Society scenarios. Welcome everyone to our inaugural episode 0 of season 5 of I would say is the most preeminent, what I call PPP, preeminent and pronking preferred Starfinder role-playing game actual play podcast in the entire universe. This is a little show we like to call Cosmic Crit.
We're also the most humble.
Only Rebecca. The rest of us
I never
are anti-humble.
And we certainly don't have any cool merch that you can find on the internet anywhere.
I got in trouble because the other day my family was in the living room and I was doing some work in the garage, and I walked into the living room, and as I walked through like the entryway to the living room, I was like, the main character enters the room, and then my wife wouldn't speak to me for like an hour and a half.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and I was just like, come on, I was just being cringe, and then she always gets me back because then like the next 2 family functions she told that story.
You should just announce like, whenever you come back from the bathroom.
Yeah.
So guys, we got to get this episode rolling because we have a lot to get to. My name is Patrick. I am not your main character. I'm the game master here on the podcast. Game master for everything you're about to experience in this adventure this season. And I've been the GM for Cosmic Crit since day one, since the game released, since Starfinder released in August of 2017. And since then, this podcast has become indeed the most popular, continuous, ongoing Starfinder podcast in the universe. We are a partner of the amazing Paizo Publishing, who puts out the game. And I think we're the home to the most amazing fan base in the world, the Cosmic Crittermanders.
Rockin' right.
Everyone getting ready to toot in the chat as in our Twitch chat as soon as a 2 is rolled. But yeah, before we get to this season of Cosmic Crit, I do want to say that this podcast would be nothing, would go nowhere, and would not amount to a hill of beans without the 5 of you, my friends here, making some amazing characters season after season, like the ones we're going to introduce here tonight. And indeed, I do call you my friends and players here every episode.
And we never correct you on it.
Well,
we like to let him have his little fun.
Somehow, I've hoodwinked, brainwashed, perhaps, the 5 of you to consistently meet with me almost every single Monday is when we normally game. Every single Monday for the last 6 years. and like pushed off other things in your life in order to make that a possibility. But as Drew was saying just a little while ago, I've been friends with some of you for like an average of 20 or so years. Which is, now at this point in our lives, the majority of our lives. So I don't think you're leaving even if you try. Tyler, not so much, but close enough.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why if you're like, why is Tyler so annoying? I've lost time to make up for. I have to get these things in so that I can try to be at that same level.
Yeah, that's why you and Seth, I'm torturing on a second podcast and Dead Men Roll No Grids every week.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why we still game together, why the podcast can still continue, is because you guys, despite me knowing you for so long, you still show up every week, and there's something new, there's something fresh, and there's something surprising in what you do and what you choose to do. And I think our fans out there listening to this will have some evidence you can put in the chat of 5 or 6 times per season where I die laughing. But yeah, let me introduce you, the 5 of you, officially to this season. Everyone, please welcome back to the podcast for season 5 of Cosmic Crit, Jabert, Miles, Tyler, Drew, and Rebecca.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Ah!
Hey, guys.
We're here. They couldn't get rid of me yet.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, we just got a Cavity Kids call out in the chat, and I cannot let that go.
Best
We still need to make a Cavity Kids design. It's like my favorite podcast moment.
Almost died. I couldn't breathe.
Yes. The five of us were dying, which actually is the name of My Chemical Romance demo. But that moment, I think, sticks out for me, even though it was season one, as like the one moment where I think there's like all of us just completely broke for the longest time. That was a long night.
I just remember being very confused for most of the time because everyone else was like dying, and I was like, "What is going on?"
That's so much of the so much of the show is us being just chimpanzees while Rebecca sits there and goes, "Can we play this game that we all promised we would play together?"
Yeah, Rebecca is the wrangler here because she's the one that is most often like, "Can we get back on track, please?"
Yeah, yes. And thank goodness, otherwise.
Yeah, otherwise
the
every
show
episode would
wouldn't
be like
even
5 hours
exist.
long.
It would be a totally, we would be like just a reality podcast where we just talked about things that have cropped up in our lives in the last week.
No. If Rebecca wasn't here, I would take over that task and not have a fun time. Every time we've played without Rebecca, that's basically what it amounts to. Like, all right, shut up. Let me get to it. So, guys, shut up. Let me get to it. The five of you, along with Seth, are included friend in our Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Skull and Shackles podcast, Dead Man Roll Crits. The six of you collectively, I would say, along with me, I'm like a condiment, but you guys are the meat of the Cosmic Crit sandwich. And of course, that would make the bread and butter of the community, as always, be our 8th hero on the tabletop field of the show, our fan base, the Crittermanders. I mentioned them already. So far at CritterCon 6, we're 12 hours or so in, and we're on pace. We've got up over $1,100 raised for our charity friends at Doctors Without Borders and Médecins Sans Frontières. Thank you, everyone that's already donated. Crittermanders around the world have joined our Discord. They've taken part over the years in world building challenges and fundraisers like this, gaming conventions. They've proudly provided the Patreon funds over the last few years to help get us to a second podcast. And yeah, we're up over about $25,000 raised for Doctors Without Borders throughout the years, which is, I get no small amount of joy telling people that have like no idea my normal life that I do podcasting like multiple times a week. That's like, oh yeah, this weekend I'm helping run this online convention for charity and raise money for Doctors Without Borders. People always do look at me a little weird. It's like, oh, why? Maybe they don't know about that. I guess I'm talking about people in my work life and even some family members. It's like, oh, wow, okay. Is that the same for you guys? Is there people that you know and work or live with that don't know anything about your podcasting?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I don't tell
100%.
anybody about my podcasting. It's a secret.
Yeah.
Live a double life.
This is my yes.
I feel like a lot of people know that I do podcasts, but I also don't socialize that much outside of you guys these days, so it doesn't matter.
I had jury duty this week, and they asked around the potential jurors,
Any of you
who has who has a reason that they can't participate in the jury, and I almost raised my hand to say, like, I've got a charity podcasting event this weekend.
Man,
They would have
And I didn't
laughed.
do it because I didn't want to have to explain to an 80-year-old judge what that meant.
What a podcast.
Can you
was.
imagine if they were, if you were busy at like 9 p.m. on a Friday night with some jury duty?
Well, I left at 7:30 the other day.
Oh, that's not
Anyway,
Yeah, so I just wanted to take a moment of this CritterCon, like I do every CritterCon, and just reflect on the amazing community that we've built. One thing I do talk about a great deal is so-and-so from the Discord said blah, 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 or, oh, someone on the Discord just posted a link that I really want to, an article I really want to read. And yeah, I want to talk about how this podcast, this stream, all this has formed because of the 6 players that I have, but also the 6,000 or whatever people that listen to us on any given week or month and show up in the Discord and are very friendly to one another. And indeed, I've met a lot of lifelong friends, Tyler included, in online games and things like that. And a lot of those friendships have strengthened because of Discord or Starfinder games, TTRPGs over the years. And yeah, at some point when we were playing home games together, we got it in our heads, the idea that recording our sessions, putting some music behind them, was good enough to share with people. And I don't know if you guys remember when that happened, but the gall on us, really. I still can't believe it's 6 years later.
I specifically remember when you brought that up and thought to myself, like, I can barely keep the schedule that we're doing now. Cause like, at least once a month I wasn't there, and thinking there's just no way we can keep this on track. And somehow we have.
We were also podcasting weekly already.
But I mean, we were doing just the More Your Nerd, and even there's dedication stuff with doing that. But when you have more people and more people's schedules involved, that can be tough.
Yeah. Getting 6 people to sit down weekly for anything is pretty major. So accomplishment. I think 6 years later, we've definitely unlocked some kind of lifelong achievement for TTRPG playing in general. Right. So yeah, the reason we are doing this live stream and kicking off season 5 in this way is I wanted to make the start of this season an event, a thing that people can come to, and also to really wring as much out of our charity streaming as possible, but also for this to be a little thank you to the mega fans who've listened to the past 260 something episodes and allow a fresh start for new fans that might want to jump on board this adventure.
Not to rewind a little bit here, but I did go back and find my original recording from when we recorded our session, which was February 27th, 2017.
Right. Yes. I think I have. You should upload that to our Dropbox, because I think I had it on my old computer, and I don't know if I have it on this one.
Was that that would have been February, so it would have been the Final Fantasy game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have part 1 and part 2 of our Final Fantasy game. I still have recorded, which
we will release if we get to $1 million per month.
Well, I was about to say that sounds like pretty good Patreon bonus content. If I
remember correctly, it is not safe for work. So
I also remember us being super loosey goosey.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
We weren't putting it out for public consumption, so we're engaging in private consumption.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's funny is because it's a video file, so while you guys aren't on video, my dumb face is. Like, if we were to release this, if we were to release this like completely unedited, it would be like the Roll20 page, and then just my headsetted face, like reacting to everything. So
you got my $5.
Yeah, it would be fun to do.
Let's get into this. This is going to be episode 0 for season 5. This is our live action playthrough of Paizo's adventure path, Horizons of the Vast. If you guys haven't heard of that before, obviously my players have, but out there, if you haven't heard of it, it has been referred to as Kingmaker in space. Kingmaker being the Pathfinder AP adventure path, where you do exactly what the name suggests. You make a kingdom and you make a king. You quarrel with other kingdoms and over the course of years in game time. And this is going to be a similar kind of event season for our podcast and be kind of a capstone season for Cosmic Crit. We're doing the same Kingmaker style thing but in space, in outer space. After tonight's episode, we are going to have a bit of a talk with the players and anybody that wants to stick around with the GM here and have a kind of state of the podcast, a Q&A, a little bit of everything. We might take a bathroom break before then, but if you guys have questions in the chat, for the season, just save them towards the end. Feel free to make commentary, but how much we'll be reading the chat, I don't know. We'll try to respond in text form, but I want to answer questions, but I don't want any spoilers until the end. So yeah, stick around after I say the 3 magic little words, and we'll get into it a little bit deeper, and we'll talk about what the season's going to be about. But yeah, I think I've talked too much. We've reminisced too much about 6 years of Cosmic Crit coming up this August.
Yeah,
but,
enough of the Nissen.
Yeah, no Nissen. We take our episode 0 of each season as a time to kind of tell a little story and introduce the characters, and that's what we're going to do with the season 5 folk that you guys are going to be playing and that you've already started playing. Are you guys, the 5 of you, ready to get into it right now?
Oh, so ready.
Certainly hope so.
Everyone's actually recording because we are going to put this on podcast form. Everything's recorded. Okay, good. I always have to check on that. We don't want... we still haven't had a lost episode, which is unbelievable. But all right, with that...
We can always try for today.
What if we just burn our computers? Yeah, that's going to do it. Without further ado, let's start this week's adventure. This is episode 0 of season 5, but this is actually episode 262 of Cosmic Crit. This episode's called Every New Beginning.
Called Closing Time.
That's the last episode. Don't steal my thunder. Every New Beginning. This season starts with a wide-angle view of what else? Absalom Station. It looks like a swarm of bees kind of buzzing around it in outer space as there are thousands of ships and drones working on repairs, and we see large blocky title card letters coming up in front of this very familiar view here that reads 3 months after the Battle of Absalom. Let me take us into Roll20, our good friend that we've used for, geez Louise, all of these 6 years, basically, and get into the game. I'm pulling double duty here, so I will bring up, if you haven't seen this classic picture of Absalom Station, here you go. This is not what it looks like now, because this is the before picture. And indeed, it has been mostly destroyed in the Battle of Absalom months ago. Since the defeat of the Devastation Arc, the last vestiges of the Civ Empire have the candles have been snuffed out. Since then, the Pact Worlds have been silently rebounding. There was a great deal of damage done to the Adari. The Eoxian fleet was nearly destroyed. The Pack Stewards and the space station at the center of it all are now being repaired, replenished, and people and crews in this time have really turned towards a greater overall unity in this time of reconstruction. Kind of all hands on deck and everyone eyes on the prize towards the future. The Viscarium has stepped into the Pact and provided security and support over the last few months, which is crazy. An old foe of the Pact. The reason why the Pact was formed, centuries later, acting as one of the system's greatest allies and helping to safeguard the galaxy from outside threats. We see indeed several large Norikami-class Vesk ships used as transport vessels, bringing in workers and security forces from all over the galaxy to help with this process, along with repairs to the station and security upgrades that have been pushed through by the Council Directorate. There were massive loans given out by Abadar Corps and a flurry of changes and upgrades to the rickety Absalom corporations and banks indeed are making a killing in this time as some of these beaten down, downtrodden areas of the Spike, once home to roving gangs and very seedy nightclubs, are now being purchased, for maybe 6-digit credit scores, credit amounts, and kind of flipped. Okay. There's wide scale gentrification going on in a very short timetable. Normally we're talking years and years to kind of turn around a bad neighborhood, but indeed the opposite is happening now.
When you fight a war, it's so much faster.
Yeah, and you could just say, oh, well, this is part of the war effort to rebuild. We're taking over. In addition to that, there are over 1 million Ark refugees that have come from the war with the Devastation Ark, many of them off of the ship itself, and a lot have been left without housing after the attack. So there's been stacked cube temporary homes set up in Jatembe Park, the center of Absalom Station. Indeed, this small city within a city kind of sprouted up with promises from the Pack Council to very quickly find suitable homes and places for relocation within the year's close. And we're going to dive into this city of cubed homes. I imagine it's kind of like IKEA size, Lego looking stacks of, trailer-sized buildings that are jigsawed together. It's actually probably pretty close to Ready Player One, how they just stack trailers on top of one another.
I think a little bit of Ready Player One, a little bit of like the middle point of Mass Effect 3.
I mean, they look like pretty nice prefab buildings, but I think they're pretty thin walled, so you can hear
these prefabs come with bidets. They're nice. They're nice.
That's only because we can't afford toilet paper anymore.
Okay, yeah, well, we don't mention that part, Drew. We're trying to sell a prefab here. God,
yeah, trying to move units.
The guy who plays Knack can't even help me sell a prefab.
You'd have to cut down every single tree in Jatembe Park for all that TP. Of course. This is now canon in Cosmic Crit's Starfinder world. No toilet paper. It's all bidets. It's bidets all the way down.
It's all bidets, and the really cheap ones, the bidet part is actually just a laser pistol that's set to a really low voltage so that it just kind of singes the fecal material. And
Tyler's really getting into the specifics here. I don't think we need to
accidents
go that far.
do happen from time to time. But the good news is,
too much thought into this.
But the good news is, if you do have an accident, you're in the bathroom where it is easiest to clean up said accident and not ruin the rest of your prefab for future sales.
It's probably pretty good Tyler has thought so much about this, because we are starting with you, Tyler. And
oh, crap.
We're starting
on the crapper.
Yeah,
I'm getting Elvis right out the gate.
Roll a d20 to see if you get the laser gun one.
But before we talk about Tyler, put in the chat what you think Tyler is going to be playing this season.
Oh, we've had people in the Discord already voicing. I think someone got at least the class. It might have been.
Somebody did get the class. Yes.
But yeah, feel free to put out your guesses as to what folks are playing as we go. We're starting here with the residents in this what's called Box Town in Jatembe Park, and we are going to meet Tyler, our first hero for season 5, one of many humanoids waiting on relocation, perhaps off-world, off-station. Tyler, talk to us about who are you playing this season? Who do we see perhaps coming out of the bathroom in one of these prefabs?
Oh, I love all the people typing in chat. I feel like I'm about to disappoint a whole slew of fans because everyone's putting in Han as the alien type, Han, Spathine, all these crazy alien folk and stuff like that. And the first thing that you notice is as my character steps out is they are an elf. I'm playing an elf this season. They are. It is a very pale-skinned elven figure with long, straight black hair. They have on just kind of light clothes, long jacket, perhaps holding a large tome in their hand. Not a tomb, can't carry those very easily, but a tome, much easier. And they kind of look around, perhaps trying to recall this place that they're in, or try to orient, or kind of get themselves orientated. And that's what you see. Should I tell them the class now, or are we holding on to that?
We can hold on to it. I mean, maybe. I mean, that might help folks guess a little bit more as we continue on here. But an elven folk, and we talked about it. Your character is one of many, perhaps collected or abducted or displaced somehow by the devastation arc over the millennia. And indeed, your character. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say your character's name?
Oh, my character's name is. I was so distracted by Seth's in chat writing the zaniest things. Sorry, Seth did the art, and so at first I saw the sentence, and I was like, I just thought, oh wow, we have a fan who's already got some fanfic going on. Then I saw it was the artist, and that kind of threw me sideways.
The bidet.
Oh, the bidet. You're right. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, Tyler.
I get it, Seth. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
What,
Fair.
what did you think he meant by wet butt?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Hey,
anyway.
no, we were talking about his name. His name is Praydeer.
What's
Praydeer.
the name?
The name is Praydeer.
Reindeer. Okay. I hate that I ask a question. It takes like 5 minutes.
Oh no. Well, yeah. Yep.
Sir.
Not my fault.
These circuitously get around to
Patrick, our friends are out of control. I'll type it in chat for folks.
No, I think that's how it should be typed. Praydeer. Prayde ear.
Yeah. I mean, Praydeer is pretty much a good way to pronounce it.
Praydeer, was woken up only a few months ago when the process on unfreezing captives from Rel State suspended animation finally began under the watchful eyes of the data files of the Starfinder Society. And perhaps, indeed, those folks undertook the process under their wings in the hopes of maybe gleaning some information from the gap or before the gap, as some of these people, maybe they have memories that were frozen in place with them. But that proved fairly fruitless because, as you guys might remember, a lot of the captives didn't have a lot of memories of their life before being captured, as part of the Civ kind of modus operandi was deleting memories of captives. But this is very different even for your character, Praetor. Praetor doesn't have any memory of what life was like before you were captured. Is that correct, Tyler?
Yes. When I wrote my character background, Patrick went in, and now I just see a bunch of black lines that all say redacted. So I have no idea what's going on in my backstory. It's the shortest backstory I've ever written.
Well, we've talked about it. It seems like it's kind of a trope in a lot of TTRPGs with folks. It's like, oh, I've got amnesia, and that's why
Very much so.
I don't have a long backstory. You've actually written a good amount, but not a tenth of what you normally do for your characters for prep.
Well, because normally when I write a character background, I start at birth. I start with the mother and the father, and then I go forward from there. But I don't know any of that. And so I started from where memory was. And so there's still a good amount, but it is predacted. Thank you, Cyber Hero. It's a good one. I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah, so we are going to flash back to when you do start remembering things, as perhaps you are thinking about it here on the balcony of your prefab. 60 days prior to maybe a Starfinder base within or connected to the Civ devastation arc itself, where we see hundreds of uniformed officers of the Pact assisting the data files, the Starfinder Society folks, along with medical professionals as well, and grief counselors and all these kind of things that have come in to go through the process of resuscitating peoples and bringing them into the 4th century. I don't know what would it's 323. So is that the 4th century?
Yeah.
we watch as a group off to the side kind of flashes their lights as they pull someone from one of these pods, waving down officials as well as emergency medical crew. It was rare for someone not to survive the waking process, but we watch as crash kits and shock teams kind of rush to the side of this medical gurney, and we watch in vain as a team fails to find the pulse of one elven figure. Indeed, we look down at maybe the mostly nude form of Prey Deer. I guess some kind of pantaloons you might be wearing. Nothing to give any information about who you are. So it's definitely like the same kind of clothing that all the folks that they've pulled out.
Surprisingly, I am wearing Duluth Trading Company's buck naked underwear.
Oh wow! Are they a sponsor?
Duluth Trading. Get yourselves a pair. Totally a sponsor.
The butt is wet though, so you do have to be conscious of that.
You're changing that out
want to
like
watch
every
out
day. Again, wet butt. Yeah, we watch as, maybe 10 minutes of them trying and failing to restart your heart. There's injections, there's magical intervention, but eventually a red light flashes and the attempts are called off. And it's just then that the team of experts kind of retreats and another team is called in. A curiosity of opposites appears above your lifeless form as we watch as the bone sages of Eox, dressed in ceremonial Pharasman liturgical dress, come almost floating over to this scene. Indeed, you heard me right. Pharasman bone sages of Eox, undead, dead,
Worshipping Pharasma. That's wild.
One comes over to
Friggin' bonies. Am I right?
you gotta drink their bone juice.
To gain their sense of humor.
They go over to a Lashuntan medical tech, and the tallest and perhaps most skeletal of them says, "Leave the deceased with us. We will ensure it receives proper burial and will not be revised or revived as per the edicts of our faith dictate." The Lashuntan Starfinder kind of looks a little confused and is like, "What? You don't want to try and raise the dead, but you yourselves are." The priest kind of like puts a hand out and quiets him. It's like, we are the profane of our order. We exist to spread the message that all those whose time has come should not exceed their allotted time alive. We have been given the authority to bury this body on Eox, and we shall take them there now. Tyler, this is a weird beginning for your character, I'm sure, because it's only been 0 episodes and I've already killed you off.
I know. I did a speed run.
And Patrick finally got one. It's been 6 years.
Dead.
We can wrap it up.
How far are we in this stream? How long has this stream been going?
Time
49 minutes and 18 seconds. Mark.
No, you're obviously you were taken literally and figuratively for dead, but you're not now. What happened with the bone priests of Eox? They obviously didn't bring you back to life, Tyler.
No, they didn't. They're not supposed to.
Yeah, so they took you back to Eox, and obviously you're alive, right? Did you just like all of a sudden get better from death?
Yeah, it was. It's like that scene from what's the Monty Python movie where it's like, she turned me into a newt.
I got
Holy
better.
Grail.
I got better. That's kind of how Prey Deer
Holy Grail,
works.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's Holy Grail.
That's Holy Grail. Thank you, my much better memoried folk.
We're like, you probably haven't heard of this Monty Python movie before. Holy Grail.
I know it's very obscure.
That's for the Holy Grail. No,
It's an oldie. It's an oldie.
They're all oldies.
And now it's in my head, so expect references to it the entire night. Thank you.
So this is one thing that you have had written up in your background, that
Yes.
you do come back to life, and the first thing you recall is you're in the care of Pharasman funereal rites, correct?
Yeah, so Prey Deer, when Prey Deer comes, when he regains consciousness, he is dressed in Pharasman kind of robes and clothing that are marked with Pharasma symbols of funeral rites, also and of end of time. And he awakens kind of in this kind of subterranean room, and he is in his casket, and above him, kind of what I wrote, he smells of elderberries, and above him what I wrote is that a sphere of energy hangs, and it's wrapped in these cords and ribbons. They float in the air, and they stretch out all around him, and he can hear these voices and these echoes of things that kind of reverberate off the walls in this room. And that is kind of where he finds himself. And that's where he begins his adventure, is by stepping out of this kind of sarcophagus almost, and trying to find his way out of this kind of seemingly Pharasman tomb, temple. I can't get those two words right tonight.
Yeah, no, you wake up in a tome and you're carrying a tomb.
A tome pull.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Not canon, but good try.
Tomb pull?
Well, that's a little better, actually. And you spend some time with the Oxians, Praetor does, Tyler?
Yeah, so he eventually he makes his way out of this room, which, kind of how I describe it is, he is kind of, as he walks down these hallways, he kind of loses himself to time. Elves get to experience time a little bit differently than many of the other mortal races. And he's following these ribbons that are kind of hanging in the air, and he hears things and peoples from all sorts of different eras, times. He's not quite sure. Many of it is in things he doesn't understand, but eventually he makes his way out of these halls, and he finds himself on the surface of Eox, and specifically in the territory of a known bone sage. Yes.
Right. So this is a flashback, by the way. And, what you're describing is like your character kind of going back through the motions there.
Yes.
And as we snap back to the present, at the same time, your eyes kind of cloud over as you're experiencing this past event. You also kind of look forward, and you see someplace you've never seen before. At least you don't think this is a memory. You see 4 figures appearing around you, and maybe a tight circle. All of your appendages kind of sprawled out before you. Maybe each person has like one hand on top of another in the middle, and there's a symbol glowing there emblazoned above you all, a neon sign of sorts that seems to kind of punctuate this scene. You feel good here. You feel yourself. You feel welcomed, part of something. As you snap out of this vision, maybe you have your hand out in front of you. There is a small skittermander with a digital data pad standing in your doorway of your domicile. He's got his hands lifting up for something for you to read on his pad, and he's like, "Sir, are you with us? I said, would you like to sign up for off-road colony housing, sir? You've been staring at me for a full 5 minutes. Please just take the information."
I'm sorry. I was not quite here.
Yeah.
Off-planet housing. Yes.
Indeed, you've seen signs for this all over the last couple weeks. Members of Project Horizons, the Waydana colonization, PHWC, have been recruiting folks for weeks of space travel to set up on a far-off planet. They've been scouring, getting folks in Boxtown to sign up to help get them relocated. And indeed, many of them seem like they are, very cheap operations, perhaps just looking for some physical space labor. But as you look down at this corporation that this guy's hawking, you see a very familiar company name, one you've seen all over Absalom Station, with co-signing names of Quindar Enterprise and Feldspar Consolidated. But there's a third corporate entity here that seems to catch your attention, Indeed, their logo is one that you caught in your premonition. The Skittermander says, there's an orientation meeting tomorrow if you'd like to sign up. But, we can get your paperwork squared away. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you fill it out. I've got a couple extra hands. I can dictate if you want. They also kind of like make themselves into a little writing desk, the Skittermander, to help brace if you are interested in signing up for this. This seems to be beckoning you forward, beckoning Praydeer to jump in.
Yeah, Praydeer will, slowly kind of grab the maybe a writing utensil and say, yes, I think this is how I am supposed to move forward in this time frame, or in this timeline.
Excellent. Just put your, single identification number right here. Fill out your blah, 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 blah. We pull out here as we're not going to role play the paperwork part. Unless someone donates to Doctors Without Borders. Then a lot of this episode will be, if that's what you want.
Patrick has prepared at least 4 hours of paperwork, and he is not going to electronically sign. He's going to physically sign all of this.
Yeah, we're gonna find out your character's blood type, their birth dates. I want to know if it's second day or third day of the month.
Pay money to watch the accounting. I've never wanted Doctors Without Borders to get less money than right now.
Well, that's not something you do, but we will be getting some roll, ROLL play later on this episode, and folks can donate to give our players bonuses to their rolls or re-rolls. I believe it is $10 for a just straight re-roll of any D20, or just give someone a natural 20. You can pay $30 and your favorite player and or character gets a natural 20 in
which
this
won't matter.
episode.
There will be no combat this episode.
But I mean, you could still get like a really good on a skill check, Tyler.
Although then legalese is coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm monitoring.
You roll a natural 20 and you dot the I perfectly.
I am monitoring our donations on our Cosmic Crittercon page on Doctors Without Borders, where you could be watching this stream right now if you really wanted. But go ahead and you can donate monies if you want, but also feel free to tell us in the chat if you do donate, if we don't call it out immediately. Anyway, that is Praydeer, as we're going to skip around to our next player, perhaps watching this interaction, though they don't know it, from high up and maybe over half a mile away in a penthouse on the edge of Jertimbe Park, looking down 50 stories or so, in perhaps the very same suite that the heroes of the Pact, the Driftrider crew, occupied on Abadar Corps' dime just a few months prior. Here in this luxury suite, we see the next member of this season, perhaps having a fine meal, looking out on this station's park. Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about your character? Who we're looking at, their name, all that good stuff.
Before we reveal it, what am I playing this season? Put it in the chat.
Who could it be? Figure it out.
A halfling rogue.
I would love to see it.
I think
Who's a Klingon?
in our discussion with Thurston Hellman for the keynote for CritterCon 6, there's like over 110 or so playable Starfinder species right now, and there's gonna be like so much more before the end of this year. It's so hard to guess what you are playing, and I'm pretty happy to say I don't think anyone was able to guess this.
Yeah.
So some folks guessed at some other things correctly, which I can't reveal, but Drew, I don't even know if I had heard of this species when we started. Oh, we got some good ones in here. Human soldier is one of the guesses.
So I see a Han biohacker. I've already played a biohacker. I see human soldier. I've already played a soldier. I'm not gonna play either of those.
I forgot you already played a soldier. Yeah, can you imagine?
Gonzi's, good guess.
Right. So tell us a little bit about who we're looking at now.
So you see a one eye kind of move, and another eye kind of move in the opposite direction, just kind of looking around and saying, yes, thank you. I appreciate it. But I do wish to be left alone for now. Thank you.
You're talking, of course, to your assistant here, who's just trying to do their job, Drew.
I appreciate it. But please, just, I don't mean to be in any trouble. Just would like a little, how do they say it? Me time. Is that the right word?
You gotta go use the bidet real quick. Get in on it. Yeah. Well, what do you look like? Give us more description. You say your eyes are moving different directions.
So you see a very tall creature with sort of scaly skin, and as it gets up to the head, the head kind of splits off into two different sort of stalks. I'll put it up on the screen. I am playing Xtangi.
At first, when Drew told me this, I was like, I'm gonna have to make sure that this is an actual Paizo release species. How have I not heard of them?
It's a homebrew.
Yeah, Drew's making his own thing. His own thing. Xtangi, say.
Yes, so I'm playing an Xtangi, and this
Archive
is,
of Nethys, everyone. Google it along with me.
and this is Zilix Thel of Clan Thel, of House Thel, excuse me.
Drew, did you know there's another character in this franchise with the last name Vel? We have Thel and Vel now, which sounds like the best offshoot, like side quest thing we could possibly do.
We'll see. Let us get through this one first before we start talking about any kind of...
Indeed, across the table from you, but also like pretty far away on the opposite side of the room, you see another member of your species, another Xtangi, tapping idly away on a data pad after you're trying to shush them or move them out of the room. This is Kaloma, an Xtangi medical professional. As they're getting ready to leave, they say, excuse me, Mr. Thel, I have received a direct communique from Mr. Thel as well. A cable came through the draft antennae directly from Daganga. It seems, it looks like it's a message from your mother, from Mrs. Thel. Would you like me to play it for you, or do you want to watch it yourself?
Of course, I will. Of course. Let me take this to the side.
Yeah, so there's like a bedroom in the suite if you want to go play it there, and a holographic video kind of plays in the center of the room. You can like walk around this figure of the matron Thel. She starts by saying, hello, my ever-changing child. I'm so sorry for the delay in this message, but the assault on Absalom has made getting communications there somewhat difficult. We did receive your message, and we were safe throughout the attack. We were worried, though, that you might have been injured. My child, I would like to tell you the pleasantries about Thelm here, about our family outings or interchanges or dealings with others. Tell you what has been going on, but since you were awoken and sent to Absalom to isolate, I have been distraught. I've done nothing in this last decade but tirelessly fundraise for a cure for the affliction, and I feel like I still can't shake the feeling that I am responsible for your gleam scale. We don't know what this is a direct message, Drew. This is not a response.
Oh yeah, this isn't a conversation. Sorry.
Sorry, this is like, they are
a voice
in the
mail,
past.
a video mail.
Yeah, no, you know what? You can respond to it if you want. Well, what do you got to say about that? She's like trying to play it down. She's like, responsible. I feel very responsible for your gleam scale.
Well, Mother, you're also responsible for sending me here, so I don't know what you mean to say about that. You put me in the line of fire, and I have to say I'm not quite too happy about it.
I know you're probably saying it's not my fault, but I still can't help but feel guilty about it. We don't know what caused it to mutate the way it has, and, well, it has been studied in the science academies across our world, but I feel like I'm being selfish and asking you to put your life on hold and wait there in Absalom. A cure for your disease is not going to arrive tomorrow. It may not come even within a year or 10 years. My child, you must accept the fact that it is possible you will not be able to return home anytime soon. I've sent along additional instructions to Coloma here to assist you in perhaps finding a new path forward. Of course, we will continue to search for a cure, but we can't ask you to continue your isolation there indefinitely. I ask that you experience this universe for yourself. Go live a life worth living. You will not be with the family, but you must understand that you will have never left the family's thoughts. Until we meet again, Zilly, please, peace and prosperity to you. You have my heart. The communique finishes up here, and we see perhaps the Yerkstangi caregiver having listened in, very morose across the room, and it's at this time they come up and kind of put a hand on what we see as like a hermetically sealed side of the chamber, maybe like a force field of sorts, an artificial barrier between their side of the room and yours, as you are indeed. You've heard of a boy in a bubble, Drew, but you're a lizard in a glass case.
Glass case is the least of my worries.
And indeed, we can see that indeed Coloma is wearing additional precautions, like a second skin suit of sorts, and is ready to like hermetically seal herself as well as a second layer of precaution. And she's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Thel. It does indeed seem like, from what I've read, studies are still underway for your disease. There's a new paper out on your scale samples. It seems to be published, a new one every month or so, but I understand your case is different. You can't hope forever, but there's always a silver lining, sir. Drew, what is your... You don't look like a regular Xtangi all the time. What's going on with your character?
Yeah, so Zilix has, you see some ripples in his scales from time to time. Sometimes he's, just changing colors. Sometimes he's playing a character with dying protagonist syndrome. That's hilarious.
We got people calling out your character building here.
Yeah, any class guesses before I start talking about things that'll give it away? Sometimes Zilix will his scales will ripple and will change colors. Sometimes his scales will ripple and a sword or an assault rifle will show up in his hands. A laser rifle. So it's kind of a weird thing, but he
do Xtangi scales. I'm sorry to interrupt, but do Xtangi scales normally do that?
I mean, it's been a while, but I think that's not out of the ordinary myself.
Can you make anything? Like, are you making your eating utensils right now as you dig into dinner?
He can't make anything. He only has a few things that he knows how to make, but the things he knows how to make, things he knows how to make.
But you have guessed correctly. He does make a spoon, a knife, and a fork. Those are the three things.
Those are operative weapons, so he's obviously an operative, a rogue. Right, as you sit down here, maybe reflecting on your mother's words, Coloma says, Mr. Thel, I know this isn't a replacement for your home world, for our Doganga, but well, they recently discovered this planet in the vast, and the rumors are it's one of the most diverse biomes that they've found in some time, decades perhaps. The jungles there might remind you a little bit of home.
Yes, but it won't be home, will it?
She holds up an advertisement, 20 feet away from you on her data pad, and transfers it over to your screen after a moment, and you see the logo for New Horizons Waydana colonization efforts in the vast, and a meeting set for that very next day. Perhaps the time you've spent here in Absalom has been pretty nice in the lap of luxury, but do you think you'd want to spend the next 10 years in this room?
I mean, I'd rather be out of this, but, here we are.
Maybe we should ask Seth if he's still here. What is your character holding? Because the art makes it kind of looks like a little biscuit.
I know what he's holding.
Okay,
because I know about this character.
Is that a spoon? Does he have a spoon? Did your bird call it right? Oh, it's coin. Right.
He just eats with his coin, though. That's the thing.
I was hoping it was a cookie. Nope. Seth says it's a biscuit, so that's canon now.
Rather shiny for a biscuit, but maybe things are different here.
We're going to get back to your character, of course, at some point, but we got more characters to introduce. I'm so sorry, Drew. As next up, we go almost 1,000 feet below where we're looking at right now. We're traveling straight down in Absalom Station to the Spike, where we see an ancient-looking factory floor cleared out, and perhaps 100 or so sweaty-looking toughs gathered around a makeshift battle arena. And in the middle, there's an Acatonian vanguard kind of slugging it out against an armor Solarian of the Kasathan variety, putting up like small shields made of solar energy in a no-holds-barred battle. Around the edges of this fight, side bets are happening. In the corners of the ring, we see Ahsoki bookies kind of running odds on whether, they'll go X number of minutes, whether it's going to be a KO or not. And to this scene, perhaps skirting past security and getting inside this factory are two hooded figures sidling up to this bare knuckles brawl. I'm wondering, I wondered if the players have guessed who's coming next, but I won't hold you in suspense too long. Rebecca, we're going to your character next.
Ooh, okay.
You're one of these two hooded figures. As one of them decloaks, takes the hoodie down, we see a stern-looking, very old, maybe long in the tooth, a winter Riforian with a pristine, if not very weathered, very wizened looking chiseled face. He draws through the crowd and you can follow behind. As one fight ends, he kind of gets into the middle of the ring and pushes past a lot of very confused looking rough men with scars and all kinds of face damage from years of fighting. He goes to the middle of this ring and says, I have a new fighter who, while yet untested in battle, is in need of a sparring mate. I have on this stick 500 Absalom credits to anyone willing to enter the ring for 5 minutes of work. There are a number of very macho, very competent looking folks, all shapes and sizes, that kind of step forward, vocally throwing in that they want a chance. Some already starting like side fights to see who from their respective gang will have a chance for this prize pool. Some just kind of flexing, flipping knives, cracking knuckles, that kind of thing. The Riforian kind of looks around and finds a very extremely chiseled looking woman of orcish blood is like limbering up, taping up her hands and things. And as she does so, her competitor, the other hooded figure, Rebecca, you can reveal yourself, decloak. What do we see when you take off this long kind of monkish robe? Who are we looking at? What are we looking at?
All right, so as they take their robe off, you might be surprised to see a tall, slender, very graceful figure emerge from the cloak. They carry themselves with fluid movements and perfect posture, but lurking beneath the surface of that slender figure, you can see their muscles flex with every movement. They are much stronger than they might appear to the average viewer. On their indigo skin, long tendrils wrap around their torso, arms, and their neck, pulsing in different colors. Currently, they are turquoise, but as they approach the middle of the ring, that turns into a electrifying yellow as they become agitated. That is their parasite that lives on their body. They are together, Asher and Sky.
Well, yeah, I said you could make one character, Rebecca, this season, not two characters. There's Asher and Sky. Not gonna lie, I was also going back to Archive of Nethys to be like, is this really a real Stormfinder species? What is it that you're playing? Who is this person?
So Asher is a Triziarca. I think that's how you say it, is the species. And the parasite that, they're attached to is a Karakande. I don't know. That's just what they have, apparently. Triziarca thing.
Yeah, and I think it's like a symbiotic relationship. You have this living entity that is kind of looks like a glowing tattoo on your person, right?
Indeed, and it gives tattoo magic as a racial trait, so.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Your Riforian sensei goes by the name of Frostfire, kind of similarly disrobes as you're getting ready to fight. And on both of you are symbols and affectations in your clothing and perhaps your lack of normal standard armor of a group known as the Battle Flowers. Rebecca, who or what are the Battle Flowers?
Well, apparently Jason guessed it in the chat. Good
Yeah,
job, Jason.
it's like he wrote some of this this game or
Maybe
something.
Jason should explain what the Battle Flowers are. Yeah, the Battle Flowers are on Triaxis. And while Triziarca is not, native to Triaxis, they're usually Riforian, I think. Yeah, the Battle Flowers are a group, a community of people who are essentially, they battle in arenas. And so I took from what I've read about the Battle Flowers, I've kind of turned it into my own thing of very dance and performance oriented. And yeah, so while they are not technically a Battle Flower yet, archetype wise, because I can't get that until level 2. They have been training for the last several years with the Battle Flowers after being separated from their original family.
Right.
Could you imagine if you died before level 2 and your character never?
I know, wouldn't that be so sad?
That would be so
Oh,
sad. Patrick,
God.
please.
I'm gonna try
Don't
my
let that
best,
happen.
guys. Just give me one chance. Yeah, as soon as the crowd sees your outfit, your trappings here, an intense, a palpable hush falls over the crowd. This once kind of bullyish looking orc woman's face looks crestfallen as she slowly backs away and then leaves the fighting circle entirely and then leaves the building. She just leaves. And similarly,
Gets into a car and drives away.
we're going to follow her as she goes about her day.
Yeah.
This is the story of that orc.
Yeah, actually, now you're playing this orc woman now for the rest of this episode.
The orc's name? Sharga.
Sharga. It wouldn't be the first time. Yeah.
Steph says she gets on a spaceship, leaves the station. She joins up with a colonization effort in the vast. She gets as far away as possible. No, but everyone else here, all these folks that were super excited to get a chance at the 500 credits, all these fighters a moment ago are now shoegazing and kind of shuffling. They move over, they form another circle and watch some other fights that are happening. Everyone begins to back down. Frostfire comes over to you and kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "And with that, you've won the battle, Asher, without ever having to throw a punch. Does this outcome please you?"
I was really hoping for some practice, but I suppose this was practice in a different way.
You have found out firsthand why we send our trainees away to help develop their skills outside of the pact. Often we're too well known here to find ones brave enough or perhaps foolish enough to test their mettle against us.
Perhaps it's time for me to go off planet, find my own way.
Maybe even outside of the pact proper. It is a tradition that we also use to help weed out about 90% of those who wish to become a battle flower. This is a path of sacrifice. We often must endure solitude. You must tread where others are too afraid to walk themselves. He hands you a data pad with looks like an advertisement for an off-world colony that's being set up in the vast, and says, "A group like this will need protection. These colonists are often thrown into dangerous situations way out there on their own. On a new frontier, depending on how rich it is and natural resources, there could be many that try and steal or, worse, take via force whatever these people create. I've secured you and some other aspirants passage on some of these trips to the vast. I think that you can prove yourself as a battle flower there, and there will be others of our order that will eventually make the trip, and your mettle will be tested. I trust that you trust me enough to believe that it will, and if you have what it takes to become a member, I believe you will flourish there."
You know I trust you with my life, and the Battle Flowers cared for me when I was most vulnerable and lost everything. I will care for whomever I come across in my new world.
Asher, I want you to understand that failure is a distinct possibility. And if you do not rise to become a battle flower, I want you to know that in a place like this, you will at least find opportunities and solace from the many wars that have ravaged the Pact throughout the years. I've known you since you've came into our training hall, and I believe you are ready for this monumental undertaking. Let all the violence of this universe flow through you, Asher and Sky. Do not stand against it. Do not take part in it, but allow it to wash against you and break like waves upon the rocks. I don't know what a battle flower kind of salute or handshake is. Do you have any idea, Rebecca? It's like a parting farewell embrace
I feel like a
he wants to
flourish
give
of
you.
some kind, right? Like
Like a step, a two-step.
yeah. Like a bow of some sort with a hand motion.
It's hard to do this over Zoom. We gotta get in person and figure this out. Drew, be my proxy there. Go up and make a handshake dance step with your wife.
Go shake your wife's hand, Drew.
Go shake her.
Why do you guys got to make Drew fall? You know, he always goes all in on these things.
Oh, Drew's left his chair. All right, well,
He's up here, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Gives her a hug.
He ran up there.
It's a shame that we are leaving Rebecca's character and moving on to something else now.
We're moving on.
There
Really
he
Nice
is.
try.
There he is.
He knows we're not on camera
No one
right
can
now,
see
right?
you.
we're just looking at the screen.
We can only get Drew. You can't.
Now he's flipping off the screen just for everyone at home.
Go back down to your cave.
Rebecca just slapping him away. It's great.
I was about to say, by the time I changed the camera, I'm sure he would be gone completely. All right,
Yeah,
we're
right.
back. We're back in camera, so everyone can see Drew is not in his chair.
Gravy.
Yeah, boy howdy, we are past the halfway mark. We still got a couple characters to go. We are going to leave behind Asher and Sky and move on to somebody else, right? Back into Roll20. Here we go. The sound of fighting here does not die down, but instead the sounds of fighting in this arena are replaced, perhaps with different sounds. The bare knuckle brawl replaced with the sound of steel clanging against armor, as we see elsewhere in the spike a very curious set of figures, fully decked out in knight's armor, in black fantasy-looking armor. We see a human male in this wicked-looking armor with a mini spiked flail with 3 heavy chain balls on it, an evil-looking shield with a red dragon on it, and facing off against them in one-on-one combat. Jabert, tell us who we're looking at. What are we looking at next?
You are looking at what appears to be an olden days knight, a knight of Galarian indeed. Diminutive in stature, but fierce in combat ability. Indeed, wearing a very, very old-timey looking armor and wielding a longsword, just like the forefathers of Yon, probably. If anyone remembers what those Yon days were.
The Yon Fathers, yeah.
Yon Fathers.
We don't know the Yon Fathers.
Yeah, so, and perhaps with little tufts of fur poking out from between the helmet and the visor. Indeed, wielding my sword and in a ineffective shield, because I technically couldn't afford a shield at this level. So,
So a garbage
soon I'll have
can
a
or
shield. yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's the little guy.
by comparison, well, we didn't mention that both Xtangi and Triazarka are base 7 foot tall. And I think you're just regular medium size. You're not tall medium size, right?
No, I'm small medium. I'm small medium. I'm 4'11", I think. 4'12" is maybe 4'12" would be 5, wouldn't it?
Put in the chat, everybody. #ShortKing.
Right.
As you maybe take your helmet off. What is this we're looking at, Jabbird? Who is this? Who is this character? I'm bringing the art up right now for folks.
Indeed. As I pull off my helmet to shout a challenge, perhaps the dastardly Black Knight. Hey, another Monty Python thing there. Gets a good ding in on my helmet, and it causes it to bend a little bit. And I take it off and I say, "Aha! A good hit, but it won't be your last." From Jump from the Mighty. And I parry and move in with a jab, a stab, a slice.
A slice. Indeed,
Yeah.
this evil dark champion of certainly a profane demigod. This knight is indeed behind them. You see the prize that you're fighting for, dangling above a boiling vat of death, is a fair human princess. Perhaps gagged, but screaming through a kerchief stuffed into their mouth. As you attempt to slay this evil knight, I think you've accurately described. Maybe are you better at taking out like taller folks? Because this guy's, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's my
6 foot.
specialty. I specialize in people who are bigger than me.
Yeah, taking out like the kneecaps or going for the.
Right.
Some ankle biting.
That's the thing. When you're fighting somebody well armored, you always expect them to be beefy and burly, but you don't expect them to be little and sneaky.
You're able to take down this knight and go yonder to the fair maiden, who says, "Oh, my hero, good night. I knew you would come to my rescue. But unfortunately, this crisis, it's not over. The Knight's master, an evil wizard, has cast a spell upon me. If I am not taken in a wifely manner before the sun sets and married, I will be turned into a toad."
Ah, well, fair maiden, worry ye not. There are many toads in the lake. They will love to have a princess for a bride.
As she goes to like embrace you, and maybe you give her a hug in return, a bouncer comes over and steps between you, and the entire world freezes as some holographic letters pop up above your heads that say, "Insert 10 credits to continue." The guy in front of you is like, "If you want to continue playing, you have to go outside and put credits into the machine."
Nay, good sir. I shan't be paying more credits for this because I am out. So
Well, that'll do it.
You adieu.
Yes, indeed, you do not have a cred stick. No leftover credits from character creation. You had to barter with the holographic amusement chamber live action role playing community to allow you to step into this part of the story and try it out.
I helped somebody move. So
as you're walking out of this play center, you find a teenage Celamid kind of working there, and they bump into a tall Eoxian man in a gaunt-looking suit. As you're walking out of this establishment, this figure kind of pushes you around, even in your armor, and looking so swole as you do, and says, "Hey there, breather. What is it you're doing?"
I have no quarrel with you, bone brother. I seek only to enjoy this night, and I seek it in peace.
You don't got a problem with me, but maybe my boss. This is indeed a figure that you recognize now that you get a good look at him. This is Riggs R. Mortis, debt collector for your Ripper Doctor. You owe my boss some coin, and I think it's a pretty dumb idea to waste credits on a place like this when you owe them money.
Sir, I waste not. I am living my true life in these simulations, the way that we were intended to live. I waste not my credits, but I shall. But your boss shall be repaid. He shall have his coin for what services he has rendered.
Yeah, Oh man, I don't normally get involved with clients, but you seem like a nice what are you, a gauze claw? I don't understand. What are you, by the way?
I'm a Bruneri of the highest order.
I don't mean to tell you how to live your life, but you seem like the kind of sort that'd be interested in this kind of thing. If you want to repay your debt actually in quick and not owe him a ton of back pay, just get some work off station. They're giving signing bonuses to people that want to colonize this new system out in the vast. You can pay them back probably within half a year or so if you get on out there. He kind of points down the street. There's indeed a large advertisement across from the arcade where you see a smiling family stepping off of a spaceship into a lush golden field, a very idolized landscape with the words "Join Project Horizon today" emblazoned across it.
Well, that certainly seems more intriguing than helping people move for arcade tokens. Perhaps I shall. Perhaps indeed, Brother Bones. Perhaps I shall.
Right. Well, boy, howdy, we've gotten through all the characters. That's
Clink,
it.
clank, clink, clank, clink, clank, clink, clank.
Oh, wait, we still have more. It's the next day. All of a sudden, you guys get to meet up at a very old, very worn out section of the docking bays, the hangar bays of Absalom Station. We see a fading yellow lettering that reads 94 on the floor panels here. And as you look around, take some seats in the colony kind of timeshare sales pitch that you're going to watch here. Looking around, I mean, there's some new paint here and there, but you see signs of laser fire, like scoring and things in this docking bay. It seems like it's gotten some action in time. Oh, let me take us to... Do I have a new map? No, I don't. I have an old map of what's happening here. Let me take us to an old map. Although
they have not cleaned the... No, they haven't cleaned it. I don't think...
Does anyone else see the blood stain? I'm just saying.
I mean, it's been like...
Why is it shaped in the exact size and configuration of a
It's
dwarf?
like 4 years. They've washed at least some of the blood away. Taking us to Docking Bay 94, indeed, although I realized now that I look at this, I've kind of covered up 94 with dozens and dozens of chairs.
You've almost perfectly covered it.
Yeah, well, it's right there in the middle of the map. Indeed, in the middle of the docking bay is where, outside of a very boxy looking spacecraft docked with drones loading it up in to the south of this map. There are about 50 people here in the room. They look like they're coming from all walks of life. You see academics, some rugged looking explorer types, whole family units with multiple generations, refugees, immigrants from all over the packed worlds, and some familiar faces indeed. That you see a person maybe some of you spoke with over the comms units, an advisor to the project named Ezran Shire, a human man who kind of deftly balances on some walking supports as he seems to be going around this chamber, taking a head count. And just about every seat has been filled here, save for a few. He gets up to a small podium with a voice amplifier and says, welcome everyone to Project Horizon. Welcome to the Tyrell Holdings family. My name is Ezrand, and if we haven't had a chance to meet, I mean, I'm sure we're going to over the next couple weeks. I'm a representative of the charter's owners, and I've got a pre-recorded message from them that, well, I think just about everyone is here, so I guess it's time to play it. It's just then, though, that there is a sound of a roaring engine as tires squeal down the corridor leading up to Docking Bay 94. You hear some shouting, perhaps someone laying hard onto a vehicle's horn. Some more tire screechers as suddenly a vehicle bursts into the chamber here. Bursts into the room, stopping short a few inches from this back row of chairs. Indeed, it is a vehicle that just rolls on up to the proceedings. So maybe it's not that close. A space wagon of sorts. The engines kind of sound souped up on this customized space buggy as they rev up, shoot some steam or exhaust, or maybe a little bit of smoke out its sides before idling and then cutting off. Miles!
Yes.
What? Who? Why are we looking at what we're looking at right now?
You're looking at what resembles a Vista Cruiser.
A space Vista Cruiser, as we've been calling it?
Playing classic jams of yesteryear. And there is a creature inside that you ask the creature, it's frankly none of your business. And their intent is their intent.
What, can you describe what your character looks like?
Yes, I will.
As they step out the vehicle.
Miles will certainly describe the character. My character is kind of dressed in what seems to be some sort of official uniform and garb, although my character is not going to explain the wardrobe to anyone. And when driving this stunning vehicle, tends to put on what is colloquially known as a dad hat and some sunglasses, which are not in the artwork, obviously, because this is driving outfits. My character is maybe unknown to everyone else in Docking Bay 94 in terms of what my character is.
But I can show folks the art. Maybe they can figure it out. I don't know. Maybe not. It's pretty a little generic here. We've got some bug eyes. It looks like some big bulging eyes. And your character, how tall would you say you are?
They're
as
about,
you step out of this big wagon.
3.5 feet. Yes, I am playing a gray.
A pronkin' gray.
And I think someone has already guessed the class as well.
The class, yes, they have.
Yes.
Do you use little bricks to reach the pedals on the vehicle, or is this like a completely customized thing that you like fit in the front seat well?
The ability of my character to operate the vehicle is no one's business. Yes, I am playing a gray experimental vehicle mechanic.
Much to, I mean, maybe everyone's chagrin except
everyone's
the listening audience.
And my character is obstinate. Refuses to answer any and all questions about my character's origins.
Well, as you get out of the vehicle, Ezran looks at the data pad and is like, "Oh, you must be Mr. Oh boy, that's real weird. I don't have a name written down here for you. It just says redacted." So
my character just stares, essentially telepathically says, "This being's pronouns are personal."
Okay.
And then it continues to ignore.
Do you take a seat, or you? What do you do?
I'll just stand there staring
next to your vehicle. Yeah, well, Mr. Redacted, we told you in your entrance interview if you want to take part in this voyage to Wedana 4 out to the Wedana system, you're going to have to stow that vehicle in the cargo hold. That's not going to fit through most of the passenger doors.
The vehicle will not be a problem. And with that, the vehicle becomes compact.
Oh, yes. As part of experimental mechanic, it kind of folds down on itself, indeed, like a transformer. And gets to about medium-sized, yeah.
Yeah, and at that moment, my character just kind of has a slight smirk of pride, because while my character absolutely thinks that this entire plane of existence is beneath my character, my character has an affinity for classic vehicles of this plane of existence.
Cool.
And has very much loved the land vehicles of long, long ago.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Anyway, we have a pre-recorded message. Ezran continues on and starts up the player here. It's from our charter owners at the newly formed Tyrell Holdings Company. The lights in the docking bay begin to cut out like two at a time, just chunk, 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 as the large holographic heads of some fairly well-known figures here appear in the docking bay before you all. Let me show you these guys show up. some friendly faces.
These two weirdos.
I gotta make them bigger so folks can see. But yeah, they are massively sized holographic projections of our friends.
Oh wow, the
Knack
OG
Feldspar.
art.
Yeah,
The
Knack
original art.
Feldspar, Raimi Quindar. Indeed, I've gone back to the original. I think we I don't even remember who it was. It was art we got off of Fiverr for, I think, literally $5. And this is what, for the first few months of season
and thus
1.
it was
Yeah.
born.
The
Yeah.
original art for Knack was delivered on my birthday because my birthday is in August, and it was just before we started.
We did get a request to pop up my character art again because
Yeah.
someone missed it.
We also,
yeah,
now that we
no,
have Drew's birthday, we need a mother's maiden name. And
Redacted does not agree to any requests for additional scene of his art. If you miss it, you're gonna have to wait for the podcast episode to drop. No, hold on. I got it right here.
Oh,
Donate.
that's cold.
Donate to Doctors Without Borders, and you get to see this even more. Okay, here we go. Edit them again. Oop. Yeah, the projection starts up. We see Knack Feldspar, Raimi Quindar appear in holographic form, like the Emperor, like 30 foot tall. They seem to be having a conversation that's muted out as music plays over them. As the tune fades out, they kind of like turn towards the audience. And let me do my best Knack and Raimi impressions real quick. To be continued.
You've been listening to Cosmic Crit, an officially licensed partner of Paizo Incorporated. The Starfinder role-playing game and adventure paths are trademarks of Paizo. All Pathfinder and Starfinder images are property of Paizo and are used with permission.